looks like, again, there are many hundreds of thousands of votes outstanding, but she has now just, and I think for the first time in several hours, taken the lead. Look at that lead, 254 votes. I'll check in a few minutes, or I'll ask one of my producers to check how many votes are outstanding. It's probably still about 500,000 votes, so don't worry too much about who's got the lead of 250 or 500 points here, votes here or there. I am here with Basil Smikle, Abby Livingston, and Eugene Daniels. Basil, as you pointed out, and as you can point out every Tuesday, your vote counts.
Your vote absolutely
This is proof
counts.
that your vote counts.
Absolutely does. And just think about Mandela Barnes. I wonder how many votes he's going to get tonight, even though, right? Yeah. Every vote absolutely counts. And, you know, as much as we try to tell people that, there's still a tremendous number of voters that just say, no, it actually doesn't. But race after race after race, we see, particularly as these elections get really close, your vote absolutely does matter.
Eugene, let me ask you this. This election potentially of Francesca Hong, and again, we just don't know how this is going to go. She could end up as the gubernatorial candidate. The question of electability is different here than it is when 3 DSA candidates beat opposition candidates in New York City when they took out 2 incumbents, because those people are going to be members of Congress. Bottom line is that's the case. This is trickier. Wisconsin is not New York City.
Yeah, Wisconsin is a swing state, right? It was the part of the blue wall before 2016 that got cracked, and so now they've been going back and forth between red and blue, and so that's number one. Number two, the thing I was talking to some folks in Wisconsin today about the electability argument. These are both moderates and progressives, so they consider themselves that. That's not me giving them the title. And what they both sides told me is that at some point, voters, Democratic voters, these are Democrats, have to figure out how to not be pundits, how to realize that being electable is being elected, right? That's what makes you electable. Crowley's also not electable because he hasn't been elected in this seat before. So that is the kind of thing, I think, that as voters are trying to game the system, because there's so much pain out there, right? And so there's a reason why voters are doing that, right? And they're also hoping that people are actually going to do what they say they're going to do when they get to Congress or when they get to the governor's mansion, whatever the position is. But at the end of the day, you vote for the person you think is going to win. You go knock doors for them. That is the way someone becomes electable. Now, the question about whether or not someone's ready for prime time, that's a different question. I think that's a thing that you ask when you talk to national progressives about Francesca Hong. Bernie Sanders and AOC, it doesn't get more DSA and more progressive than that nationally. They did not endorse her campaign just yet. And so those are the kinds of things that I'm looking out for, and whether or not the progressives see this person as ready for prime time or not.
Yeah, it's a good point. The electability question is really important because, as Basil said, you go out and vote. Unless you do ranked choice voting, trying to vote strategically is very complicated. If we all did ranked choice voting, then we should all be strategic voters because you do think about voting for this person so that this person drops out. But for the rest of us, just vote for the person you want.
And by the way, just very quickly, even the folks that do ranked choice voting still only used 1 or 2 of their votes.
Correct. That's right. One of the reasons that this is interesting, and one of the reasons why Francesca Hong were to win tonight, the electability question is interesting and may work in her favor, is Donald Trump's approval ratings. In any way you cut it, on all the things he ran on immigration, the economy, wars, he's fully underwater. A brand new poll from Economist and YouGov has his approval at 33%. This is very consistent. I can throw up any poll. They all look about the same. About a third of people approve of him. That doesn't seem to change all that much. About 2/3 of people don't approve of him. In the case of Minnesota, the Republicans have chosen as a Senate candidate a full-out election denier, a straight-up election denier.
Wait, so Minnesota?
I'm sorry, Wisconsin.
Yes. So okay, so a big wave can paper over a lot of problem candidates. Sometimes folks get into office who would have never gotten in another year. With Francesca Hong, the issue is not just winning. It is winning big enough to have coattails to get the state legislature through. And so it's one point with the governorship, with the 2028 election denier issue that has caused a lot of concern. What is less noticed is the down ballot. And so underneath her, she's got, I believe, 2 competitive congressional seats that Democrats hope to pick up. But on top of that, she needs to get enough Democrats in the legislature because they want to redistrict next year. And so, there have been so many leftists who are saying Democrats are not fighting hard enough on redistricting, but they cannot redistrict the maps if they don't have the power. And so it's not just enough for her to win by just a little bit.
Right. And here's the thing, Basil. If she wins, and there may be some Democrats who are uncomfortable with her, the reality is if the other guy wins, if the Republican wins, an election denier in a tight state, in this environment that we're in, that's something.
No, it's game over.
Yeah.
It's game over. And I want to also commend you for talking about the race in Alabama, because I think that is indicative of where we are. Because Shamari Figures is in a redistricted, as was Emmanuel Cleaver in Missouri. Now, they're going to end up running against Republicans in what could be a much more competitive race than they had even reimagined. And you may have a loss of African-American members of Congress that we haven't seen since before the voting rights act. And so when we think about, what's at stake here, and the election deniers and all of the folks that were pushing redistricting, Texas, I think, started to there is. It's not just ballot access. It's the full-on loss of representation.
I'm going to ask you to hold on for a second. We've got two very important calls to make right now. We have in Minnesota, I'm just going to ask my team to put this up. We have a call in the Senate race in Minnesota. Peggy Flanagan will advance as the Democratic Senate candidate in Minnesota, defeating Member of Congress Angie Craig quite decisively, as you can see there, with 79% of the vote in. Peggy Flanagan at 59%, Angie Craig 39%. Peggy Flanagan running to the left of Angie Craig. She supports Medicare for all. She has been the one who has said that the support for Israel should stop because she has called it a genocide. Angie Craig has said otherwise. She said she would like to limit spending on Israel, but would like to work toward a two-state solution. Angie Craig has also taken outside money. About $20 million in outside money has gone toward her campaign. Peggy Flanagan has said that she wants to get out of that business entirely. I spoke to both of them last night. Peggy Flanagan will be the Senate candidate in Minnesota. I want to go to the Republican Senate decision in Minnesota as well, governor decision in Minnesota. Lisa DeMuth is the Republican candidate for governor in Minnesota. She has defeated Mike Lindell. Don't need to tell you too much about Mike Lindell. He's the foam pillow fellow who made a lot of money out of ripping up foam and sticking it into pillows. He is a massive election denier. Kendall Qualls is the guy who was actually supported by the state Democratic Party. Mike Lindell had Donald Trump's endorsement. A lot of Republicans found Lisa DeMuth to be a little too moderate. She worked with Democrats in order to get things done as the Speaker of the legislature. She will advance as the gubernatorial candidate for the Republicans in Minnesota. We also want to talk about Wisconsin for a second in the Democratic primary, which you see on the right side of your screen. This has been going on all night. It's very close. Crowley is back. David Crowley is back in the lead there. Again, it's a very tight race. It's a 482 vote lead right now for Crowley over Francesca Hong. Again, I'm going to ask Armand, my producer, to check on the outstanding votes in Wisconsin so we have a sense of how many votes are left. My guess now is it's somewhere above 400,000 votes are outstanding. David Crowley is in the lead by 498 votes. I will tell you that the most populous part of the state is Milwaukee, and we're waiting for the final votes. Now, anecdotally, those final votes tend to have been advanced votes. Okay, I'm looking, wow, there's not that many votes left. I'm looking at it right now. We have 130,000 votes outstanding in Wisconsin. However, that is a hell of a multiple from the 500 right now that Crowley's running in. So we've still got a way to go there. We are wondering about the last votes that are going to come in from Milwaukee. Those tend to, those are advanced ballots. And Crowley was off the ballot for a couple of weeks. He got off the ballot. He endorsed another candidate. She then got out of the race. This is what Abby was calling Keystone Cops. And then he got back in the race. And so this is where we stand. We are watching to see what the results of that are. I want to go to Eugene Daniels, who's standing by. Eugene, let's talk a little about this Trump hangover. Trump wanted Mike Lindell, first of all, which would have made that the weirdest story of the night. I mean, bar none. Didn't get that. But we've seen this a lot in these primaries, that Trump-endorsed candidates are not necessarily winning.
Yeah, just because internet is not real life, as our boss likes to say, right? Like at the end of the day, people on the ground are going to make a decision about who they actually want. In Mike Lindell, there was even a question, not from Democrats, from the Republicans about where he actually lived, whether or not he was even eligible to run for governor of the state. And so that's one of the things that's interesting here. I will say, for folks who, both Democrats and Republicans, who are, part of that democracy coalition, small d democracy coalition, who are concerned about people who have in the past lied about elections and had made promises to lie about elections. Folks like Mike Lindell, this is a win for those kinds of folks, right? That at the end of the day, he won't be anywhere close to the gubernatorial mansion there. However, I will say he has already said that if he's probably going to say that the election was stolen from him. So that's something that we would have to look forward to. And so there's that. But the thing about President Trump is that he does have a lot of power. It is, ask Thomas Massey, ask John Cornyn, ask Tom Tillis, ask all the folks who were either retired or were pushed out. Cassidy, exactly. But it's not always consistent. And that's one of the things that these candidates have to figure out in the Republican Party, because it's going to go on even after Donald Trump is out of the White House, is that he is going to want to wield enormous power in choosing folks in the primary, but then those folks either not winning the primary or not winning in November. This candidate quality question is something that is really important. We talk about electability on the Democratic side a lot, but it's the same thing on the Republican side. Republicans looking at someone like Mike Lindell and saying, "Nah, I'm good."
Yeah, no, that's interesting, because there's a lot of hand wringing about the type of candidates and electability on the Democratic side, but you got guys like Mike Lindell, who some people thought, some polling indicated might win. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to continue to cover these races, particularly the Wisconsin governor race. We saw it in Michigan. Now, as the results roll in from Wisconsin, how do the candidates, no matter who wins, and the party plan to unite and win in November after an extremely tight and contentious race for governor? Later on, I'll be joined by Rebecca Cook. She's the Wisconsin waitress and new Democratic nominee to flip a competitive House race in a rural district that went for Trump in the last two elections.